I just got my very own air show outside of my house. There's like, I don't even know how many jets flew by. I think it was like 2 or 3. I get so powered up by that. They inspire me. They really do. They inspire me for a lot of different reasons, because I can only imagine the magnitude of the training that they had to go through to get behind that pilot wheel, or whatever you call it, cockpit. And I can only imagine what it feels like to fight for a country or be like locked in to a country, like where you no longer have rights to your life in different ways, but not stand on perhaps what you're being called to stand on, right? Because there's just been so much grossness and everything transpiring around us for years, right? And so could you imagine fighting, and being called to do things that you don't want to do? Like whether it's going to XYZ, all these, I have to be careful what I say out here, but I mean, you fill the blanks. You know what's happening around the world. We all know what's happening around the world. We all understand the mechanics of what's controlling our world, our country. And so I carry so much humbleness, and I carry so much honor and grace for those in the military, those flying, those not flying, just anybody in the military in general. Because I can only imagine, and not even just them, but their families and everything that they've endured and are enduring. And like, for example, so like tonight, when I was in the ER and I had my wonderful conversation with a grandiose practitioner, I was just feeling really depleted. I felt really crappy, and I started, getting upset and teary. But there was an older gentleman that I heard that was going through triage, and just hearing him talk. And it's like at that mere moment, I was listening to him, and I was like, Amanda, it's not that big of a deal. You're healthy, you're this, you're that. And like I was going through all these different measures in my head because I was feeling really crappy, but then recognizing like there's just so many people in worse situations than said I am in, and I don't even feel like I'm in a bad situation. It gets heavy, and it's hard sometimes. And so I struggle with that, but I really try to always fold back on humility, grace, and humbleness. By my spiritual awakening, I've not always been this way. By the grace of God, He's helped me get here. I have always carried a unique heart. I've always carried a unique lightness about me. I've always carried a unique approach to things. I've always carried a unique thought process. I've always carried a lot of the same things that I carry now, but just in a different manner. I move in the honor of God. I move in the honor of Jesus. I move in the honor of the Holy Spirit. I move in the honor of the divine source, the Most High, God. But I wasn't always there. I always moved to the best of my abilities based on the circumstances and the choices that I were provided, and the conditionings of the world. But I always tried to do right by people to the best of my abilities. I've not been perfect by any means, but I've always tried to not hurt people intentionally. That's for darn sure. Take that one to the grave, 100%. God knows that too. Because I know God knows that, that's why I don't defend myself. And I don't call shots for shots neither. The way that I move, the way that I operate, the way that I tell my story, I tell it the way that I do. And I know it's got a lot of people fluffered. I'm not here to be any different than how I am. That's what I can tell you. When it comes to the strong pull that I've been feeling lately to my ex, like, I'm going to go ahead and say this out loud. There is zero way that I'm taking a blast from the past in reference to that. Particularly when I was literally I have confirmation of somebody or whoever telling me that cops would be called and all this stuff. I ain't doing that. I'm not going back that way. You know, whatever will be in my life will be in my life when the time is right. And I walk in certainty in that. I know that. God showed me that. And I can't believe that. And that's just the truth. And you have to get to a place in your life where you recognize that you're where you're at because you're supposed to be there. I work where I'm at because I'm supposed to be there. I'm still at my parents' because I'm supposed to live here, you know, and that's just the truth. That is the truth. Yes, that's what I was having a conversation with. Sorry, my nose really itches. I know everybody's got, you know, all these nose issues. It's all good. I appreciate all those flying with me with it, you know, like I know it's countrywide, no doubt. I know it's big. It's deep. And that's what's hard for me too. That's a really big portion of it. In reference to my podcast, my website, I pulled that up, started working on it. And it's just, I just like to be in the field. I like to be out in the field. I like to be on the front lines. I like to be in the middle lines. I like to be on the back lines. I like to hang in the dumpsters, you know, like I like to hang with my people, you know? And so that's the biggest hurdle for me. Because I know what God's calling me to be and what he's pushing me to do and become. And I will in my due time, everything in my life is in my due time, in his time. Like we work hand to hand together. It's a relationship. It's a commitment. It's a bride and a groom. You know, it's a marriage. And I know that God understands how I operate. He knows how I move. That's why when he shows me certain things, he shows me in the ways that he shows me, the way that my heart can handle it. But I wanted to touch on this when it comes to my family and stuff like that. Like, I love my family unconditionally. And I know they got my back to the best of their abilities. I know that there's just a lot of different moving parts where people are forced to do things that they don't want to do. They're forced to say things that they don't want to say. They're forced to act on things that they don't want to act on. I see it with my son every day. And so I know that. That's why I don't, it just doesn't ride alongside with me because I don't care. It doesn't change the fact that I love people. I don't love people based off the choices that they make. I don't love people based off, you know, the unfavorable indiscretions and things like that. Like, I love people because I love people. Now, when it comes to my friends in the past and all those, well, I learned a lot from y'all. I love y'all from a distance. You know, paid actors, handlers, those are a thing. They are indeed. And I know Charlie is waking up to it. Very much so. And that breaks my heart too. You know, I said this when I was at CVS to pick up my prescriptions, which was a, you know, crap show, but they came through. I said this out loud. I was like, look, if y'all just want to, you know, KILO me, just do it. Just do it. What are you waiting for? Are you done with the torture yet? Like, are we done yet? Like, when are we done? I'm here for it. And it was so funny because there's this lady checking out and I was like walking out and like she inserted herself and I was on the phone with the ER and this lady's like talking to me saying all this madness. I'm like, I don't even know you. Like, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, man. And then I got in my car and I said out loud, I was like, golly, man. Literally crucified and hated in his own hometown. And I feel it. And again, I'm not saying that because I'm having a pity party, but it's just a reality. It's the truth. Attacks are attacks. You can't run from the fact that you're being attacked. Man, that should be put in a freaking song. Put that up. Kevin Gates. You can't run from being attacked. When you're being attacked, you're being attacked. You can't run from being attacked. That's a rhyme right there. Make it happen. I love you.